Hey guys, Nick VMX here, and another round of comic book reviews. Let's get started. First up is the debut of a new Marvel series, Deadpool #1. Deadpool has always been a favorite character of mine. I loved both of his limited series, all 69 issues of his first book and the 50th issues of Cable and Deadpool, though that book would sometimes be more about Cable, which kind of got annoying after a while. Although the last few issues were all Deadpool, so hey, went out on a good note. I have to say that my initial reaction to Deadpool 1 can best be summed up in one word: underwhelming. I was very, very underwhelmed. It seems like not a whole lot happens in the first issue. There's a lot of pages to pack in humor, action, and drama, but there's only a little bit of humor, some action, really no drama at all. And some of the exposition was confusing. It just seemed to jump in like it was in the middle of the series. I don't know. The fact that it's a tie-in to Secret Invasion, which is a crossover I have 0.0 interest in whatsoever, that doesn't help things. Although the end of the issue is very intriguing, I couldn't help but feel that much more could have been put into this issue. The backup feature gives you the character's history, though it's an origin that already has been retconned. Good job there, guys. Overall, it was decent, but definitely could have been better. I'm going to give this a 6 out of 10. Up next is The Goddamn Batman #10, which I described to a friend while reading it as one simple word: terabad. That's a mixture of terrible and bad. You see what I did there? The art is, of course, gorgeous, but only idiots buy comics only for the artwork. The story itself continues to not progress at all, as Catwoman does ridiculous things, Batman and Robin do ridiculous things, Black Canary does ridiculous things, and of course Batgirl does some really ridiculous things. Batgirl has always been portrayed in the mainstream DC universe as being a very bright and intelligent girl, if a bit naive at times. In Goddamn Batman, she calls herself the fucking Batgirl and comes off as a complete dumbass. There is now so much cursing in this comic that it borders on self-parody, and you wonder why they bother blacking out much of it. And some of the blacked out parts, you can see what it says anyway, so why bother? The comic has so much other ridiculous crap in it, they might as well just not even bother with that. Don't buy this. Don't buy this. Not even to burn it. 1 out of 10. Back to Marvel for a second for The Stand, Captain Trips #1, which is the first part of a 5-part miniseries that takes a look at the first part of Stephen King's epic, The Stand. And I have to say, I gave up on the Marvel's Stephen King, The Dark Tower comic books a long while ago. I'm a fan of Stephen King, and I'm a big fan of The Dark Tower in particular, but I personally found the Dark Tower comics to be almost insultingly bad. Even though they did have great artwork, they tried to adapt thousands of pages of prose into tens of pages of comics. So I admit that I got this issue just to see the train wreck. Surprisingly, it's really good. The artwork is great, and King's prose remains intact. Seemingly, the book was used as a script for this, and the adaptation cannot be faulted. The story is very in-depth, and it really does read like a graphic novel interpretation of the book. It's not even compressed at all. So, highly recommended. I'm going to give this a 9 out of 10. Booster Gold #12 is a competent issue, though that's all there is to it. I thought the art in this issue looked a bit amateurish, and the plot line is starting to actually get a bit confusing. The humor aspect of the series also seems to be taking more of a precedent over the more serious topics, which worries me, as I'd hate to see Booster become a joke once again. Hopefully, it's a fluke. The story continues with Booster returning to the crime scene again, this time dressed as, well, Elvis, with his sister dressed as Batgirl. And I'm pretty sure this will cause lots more issues with the time stream and continuity than it solves, but hopefully it won't be dragged out for too long. Nothing to drop the book over, but definitely a weird issue of Booster Gold. I'm going to give this a 7 out of 10. Final Crisis Revelation #2 is much better than the debut issue, giving us a very long, tense, and emotional confrontation between the Question and the Spectre, with Crispus Allen's despair growing as the inconsistencies in God's plan become more and more clear to him. The characterization is very good, and the book is very tense. With a hefty name like Final Crisis attached to it, you don't really know that anyone's going to come out of it okay. Definitely an improvement, worth checking out, a solid 8 out of 10. Green Lantern Corps #28 is also solid, though it seemed to be that everything got wrapped up a bit easily, with the simple capturing of a few Sinestro Corps members and no big thing behind it. After all the epics and whatnot, it's almost weird to accept a simple 2-arc story in this book. The art, as I mentioned last issue, it does take some getting used to, but it's definitely growing on me. It's the second issue in the style, and I'm starting to like it. I also like the integration of Kyle into the series. He fits in rather seamlessly with Guy Gardner. Of course, the last few pages do hint at something even greater, and definitely got me excited. A good solid 8 out of 10. Alright, what can I say about Trinity? We're on issue 15 now, and it's not getting any better. I've enjoyed but one issue of this out of 15, and that is not a good ratio to have for a planned 52-issue series. I stuck with Countdown all the way through, and I liked Countdown a lot better than most people did, but I don't know if I can stick with this much longer. Now, I mean, I just don't care, and minutes after reading it, I barely remember what happened. Now, what's positive is that this seems to be the beginning of the end of this current storyline. So it actually seems to be wrapping up this whole thing with Enigma, Despero, and Morgan Le Fay. Hopefully, Busiek and Bagley can move on to something that doesn't suck. Gotta give this one a 4 out of 10. Being a little generous there, but hey, what are you gonna do? Lastly, with the 52nd issue, Invincible continues to be one of the best comics out there, though its schedule has been somewhat shitty as of late. Kid Omni-Man shows that he's a chip off the old block in this issue, with a rather disturbing and strangely poignant last panel that could conceivably lead to very dark times for Invincible. The issue is decidedly less fun than most issues of this comic, but considering the serious subject matter, this is rather called for. Characters like Cecil and the Immortal continue to surprise me with nothing more than an appearance or a facial expression. Still one of the best, and a good solid 8 out of 10. Now, that's it for this week. I didn't get around to everything I wanted to review. I didn't get to review Action Comics. I didn't get to read Spider-Man. So we'll just... Batman Confidential. I don't even know if that came out. It was supposed to. Actually, I believe Action Comics just got delayed. But, yeah, I couldn't get my hands on Spider-Man. And I have quite a lot of stuff coming out next week. There's, another issue of Spider-Man. There's Punisher, All-Star Superman, Batgirl... Batman the Outside. There's just so many reviews I might actually split next week's into 2 videos. We'll see what happens. But see you next week. Hope you guys enjoy these.